Beneath the flicker of failing lamplight, where shadows congeal into shapes best left unnamed, you've arrived. Listen closely. Can you hear it? The whisper of moth-eaten curtains, the creak of a door that should stay shut. These tales are not mere stories. They are fractures in reality, cracks through which something older, hungrier slithers. You think you know darkness? You've only tasted its afterbirth. Here in the silence between heartbeats, truths squirm like parasites. They will nest behind your eyes, coil in the hollows of your breath. These are not phantoms of flesh, but specters of the psyche, sins given voice, regrets sharpened to claws. Turn back now if your bones still remember warmth, but if curiosity has carved its hooks deep, press onward. Let the dread seep into your seams. Just know this, some stories once heard cannot be unspooled. They linger, they hunger, and they are already yours. Sweet dreams are overrated, aren't they? Story 1. The house smelled of damp earth and forgotten birthdays. Miranda noticed it the moment she crossed the threshold, carrying the last box of her mother's porcelain figurines. The air clung to her skin like cold spiderwebs, that sweet rot stench of composted roses making her nostrils flare. She told herself it was just the old Victorian sitting empty for 2 months since the funeral. Just the mildew creeping up its 19th century bones. The realtor had warned her about the basement flooding. Mom would haunt me herself if I sold the place, she said to the empty foyer, her voice swallowed by flocked wallpaper the color of dried blood. Her words came out too high, the cadence all wrong. She hadn't heard her own voice since the burial, hadn't needed to. The first night, she dreamed of teeth. Not the neat white rows from dental commercials, but something jagged and endless, molars the size of headstones grinding against each other in the dark. She woke choking on the taste of iron, her sheets damp with sweat that smelled faintly of loam. The digital clock blinked 3:17 a.m. in toxic green. From the hallway came the wet crunch of something being chewed. Miranda lay perfectly still. Childhood fears bubbled up. Monsters under beds, closet doors left deliberately ajar. At 34, she recited her therapist's mantras like psalms. Grief manifests strangely. The mind constructs narratives to process loss. You're safe in your childhood home. The sound stopped. She counted to 300 before checking the hallway. Moonlight through stained glass threw fractured colors across the Persian runner. At the top of the stairs, a single muddy footprint pointed toward her mother's old room. The shape was all wrong, too elongated. The arch collapsed like a bridge after heavy rain. Miranda touched the carpet, still damp. House settling, she told the silence, but slept with the lights on. The manifestations escalated with methodical cruelty. On Tuesday, she found all the mirrors draped with moth-eaten sheets. Not the careful coverings Mom used during thunderstorms, but haphazard shrouds knotted like nooses. When she pulled down the hallway mirror, her reflection stared back a half-second too late, mouth forming words she couldn't hear through the glass. Wednesday brought whispers in the walls. Not the mice the exterminator had assured her were eradicated, but liquid syllables that slipped through cracks in the plaster. They called her Marigold, the nickname only Mom had used, in a voice that buzzed like flies trapped in a jar. By Friday, the cold spots began. Islands of winter that left her breath hanging in milky plumes. She'd step into one and feel invisible fingers comb through her hair, smell that earthy decay from her dreams. The thermostat read 72 degrees Fahrenheit even as her teeth chattered. It was the photographs that confirmed she wasn't imagining things. Sorting through old albums in the attic, Miranda watched as family portraits mutated over hours. Dad's face melting like wax in the 1989 Christmas picture. Her brother Jamie's eyes scratched out in every image from his 13th birthday onward. And Mom, in each successive photo, Mom's mouth stretched wider, until in the last Polaroid before her stroke, it split her face like a gutted fish. That's when Miranda found the hidden panel. Behind the headboard in Mom's bedroom, where teenage Miranda had once hidden vodka bottles and love letters, the wall gave under her probing fingers. The compartment smelled of frankincense and something acrid, burnt hair. Inside lay a leather-bound journal and a velvet pouch spilling tarnished silver bells. The journal entries started normal. March 14th, pruned the rose bushes. Jay got into Stanford. Then, the slanting handwriting began to unravel. April 3rd, they're singing in the walls again. Harold says I'm tired, need to rest, but I hear them clearer every night. The hungry ones, they keep asking for a door. April 17, found Jay sleepwalking in the garden. His feet, oh God, his feet were black with dirt up to the knees. He said he was digging a hole for the lady under the porch. When I checked, the soil was disturbed. Something moved under the ground. I'm tying bells to all the windows. May 1, it's in the mirrors now. I see its hands sometimes, too many joints, fingers like roots. It wants a vessel. It wants my children. I won't let it take them like it took Grandma Agnes. Salt isn't working anymore. The final entry froze Miranda's blood. June 9. The hollowing comes when the moon bleeds. It needs flesh to wear. I've boarded the basement door, but it's already inside the walls. Forgive me, Jamie. Forgive me, Miranda. I tried to starve it. Outside, thunder rumbled. The weather app showed clear skies. Miranda realized the vibrations came from beneath the house. She almost missed the clipping tucked in the journal's back pages, a yellowed newspaper article from 1923. Local cult leader sentenced for ritual murders. The photo showed a man with hollow eyes and a too-wide smile, standing before a house Miranda recognized by its gabled roof. His quoted words, "The sleeper in the clay demands tribute. 7 souls to open the gate, 7 more to keep it shut." The floorboards creaked, not the usual symphony of an old house, but a deliberate sequence, step, drag, step, moving up the stairs. Something jingled faintly, the sound of silver bells. Miranda ran to Jamie's old room. The door wouldn't open until she threw her weight against it. Inside, the air hummed like a live wire. Her brother's childhood bed sat perfectly made, Star Wars sheets preserved under a layer of dust. But on the wall above the headboard, illuminated by a shaft of moonlight, words glistened wetly. Marigold. Marigold. Scrawled in what her fingers confirmed was fresh blood. The closet door burst open. Cold poured out, that grave chill that ached in her molars. Hanging inside Jamie's old winter coat was something that looked like her brother. If you subtracted the eyes, too black, the smile, too many teeth, and the fingers ending in ragged roots instead of nails. It cocked its head, joints popping like green wood in a fire. "Don't be scared, Mary." Its voice was Jamie's choir boy soprano layered over something deeper, wetter. "Mom let me play with the hollowing. We dug so deep we touched its bones." Miranda backed into the hall. The thing wearing Jamie's face stepped forward, leaving black ooze sizzling on the hardwood. Downstairs, the grandfather clock struck 13. She fled to the basement, the one place Mom's journal had warned against. The door swung open before she touched it, revealing stairs that descended into perfect darkness. From below came the sound of something massive shifting, scales dragging across stone. The smell of turned earth and copper filled her nostrils. Her phone flashlight revealed walls covered in symbols. Not the crosses and psalms Mom had favored, but older marks carved into the foundation stones. They squirmed under the light, squiggles rearranging themselves into nooses, into screaming mouths, into a spiral that hurt to look at. The floor trembled. Behind her, the Jamie thing giggled. "You shouldn't have come home, sis. It's been so hungry since Mom sealed the last door." The flashlight beam caught the far wall. Dozens of handprints stained the limestone, some small enough to be a child's, others elongated and twisted. Fresh blood dripped from a new set forming mid-air, fingers dragging downward as something invisible clawed at the stone. Miranda's breath hitched. The blood was hers. She felt the sting on her palms before seeing the wounds. Her own hands pressed against the wall of their own volition, fingers splaying in time with the phantom prints. Some vital part of her slipped through the cracks, draining into the hungry stone. The floor collapsed. She fell through centuries, through Civil War-era coins and Native American arrowheads, through mastodon bones and primordial ooze, before landing in a cavern that shouldn't exist. The air tasted ancient, metallic. Her light died, but the darkness moved. It wasn't empty. Something vast coiled through the black, scales rasping like a million dead leaves. She felt its regard pass over her, an intelligence that made her bladder release warm down her legs. The hollowing didn't think in human terms. It was hunger, was the void between stars given form, and it had been waiting. Above, the Jamie thing called down. "It needs a face to walk the world again. Don't worry, you'll get to be part of something eternal." Miranda's legs moved without consent. She walked toward the beating heart of the darkness, toward the massive shape resolving itself. A column of screaming faces fused together, their mouths stretched in endless silent wails. The faces of everyone who'd ever disappeared from the house. Grandma Agnes, the cult leader's victims, Jamie, Mom. The last thing she saw before the darkness took her was her own face blooming on the pillar, mouth opening to join the chorus. When the police came weeks later, summoned by concerned co-workers, they found the house spotless. No blood, no claw marks, just a faint hum in the walls that made their fillings ache. The basement door was sealed behind new bricks, mortar still damp. Miranda's phone lay charging in the kitchen, last search visible, how to perform a house blessing. Her suitcase sat unpacked by the door, as if she'd never stopped running. In town, the old-timers whispered about the Victorian on Cedar Street. How sometimes at 3:17 a.m., lights flicker in its boarded windows. How stray cats disappear near its property line. How if you press your ear to the ground during the new moon, you can hear something digging. Deep in the cavern beneath the house, the pillar of faces grows. Miranda's mouth stretches wider every night, her features softening, reforming. Soon she'll be ripe enough to wear. The hollowing is patient. It has all the faces it needs now.